Hello, the exam season is now upon us, and those people who haven't started a few days ago will be starting in earnest, sitting GCSEs and A levels, and university exams will be following. I was in Oxford the other day, and I saw, the party season is getting underway, and exams are well underway. So, how do we approach exams, and how do we avoid that sort of exam nerves thing? Are exams a good thing? Well, that's a sort of philosophical question that maybe we should look at a little later. I'm quite happy to look at that, by the way. And I have serious doubts as to where the exams are the future of measuring our educational competence. But equally, I think continual assessment is open to serious error. So, in terms of exams, the most important thing is to enjoy them. It's a really strange thing to say, but the more one breathes properly from the diaphragm, breathes slowly, and one convinces oneself that this is something one can enjoy, the more one relaxes, the more one suddenly realizes one's got an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours ahead of one, where it's just an opportunity to converse with the examiner. There's a freedom there if you can find it. And that freedom is your release. If you are ill, particularly this year, there will be a huge sympathy. There are forms that you can fill out for exceptional circumstances or special consideration, depending on where you are in the UK. I'm pretty certain these will be taken quite seriously. So if you are ill, if you're not feeling well, you need to tell the administration centre, the school centre, that you're not feeling well, whatever it is, and explain, those details. Because again, it's bureaucratic, so you have to be very clear about your sense of feeling ill. When did that begin? How is that going to impact your performance in the exam? Overall, exams are very much about memory. And how do you learn things? Well, the way you don't learn things is by staring at a screen. Learning is a proactive process. So you write down what you've got to remember. You put your hand over it. You see if you've remembered it by writing it down somewhere else. So you keep writing things down, smaller and smaller pieces of information, in fact, because each time you write, you find that there's only a small bit of information you're forgetting. So that's the bit you need to keep testing. Ideally, you should be trying these memory tricks 3 times. Once, perhaps the day before the exam, once, ideally, about a week before the exam, and once about 2 weeks before that. That will secure this information in your short term memory. It's not me who says this. This goes back to Aristotle, who wrote about it in the 4th century BC. And indeed, it's Aristotle's memory lane or memory house or memory palace, which Sherlock Holmes in the modern Sherlock series references Cumberbatch. Certainly not me, but it works. And it works so much better if what you're writing out is in a pattern, because your mind tends to remember patterns. So if you've got to remember something and you're finding it really difficult, write it on a piece of paper. Just note the details. Use your own shorthand. Nobody remembers sentences. Remember ideas and points, and everything else slots into place. You've got a lot to remember, I know, and it can seem intimidating, but the only way to do this is to divide up your tasks, to set out a decent schedule for revising and keep to it as much as you possibly can, and then go on walks. What is extraordinary and what is really, really rewarding at this time of year is that you will find you remember things in different places. And as memory is often triggered by things like smell and what we sense, go and find a place with different smells and try and learn your German or your RS or your English in the kitchen, and learn something else somewhere else in the back garden. Use the different smells around your house and around your school to stimulate your memory. So you will remember where you were when you learnt a particular thing. Meanwhile, good luck.